I've been a troublemaker, I've been a late-night player, I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker, I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator, I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing, popping, lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just.
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut.
It's a little cool.
On this chilly, well, actually warming up considering what it was the last couple days.
We had 19 degrees the other night.
Yeah, right. I don't know if that was a record. They said it was going to near record low temps for this time of year. November 14th it is, live here on a Thursday, 6 to 6:30. We are back after being off for a week. As you hear the voice of my right-hand man, Bob Roth Jr.,
Who's back from the
he's
dead.
back. Yeah.
Literally.
Give us a little scare there, Bob.
Yeah, I was a little in deep trouble for a week, especially on that was a Halloween.
Your
from
birthday, Halloween, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And Bob was down for the count, but he got back up. He was recovering last week, and I was still celebrating the Red Sox World Series championship.
Yep.
So I was happy to take a week off there last week and let the celebration continue and linger for a little week and play that episode from 2 weeks ago one more time for you guys out there. But we are back, and we're ready to dive into all things sports. Of course, Bob's show, Spotlight On, Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. And there we see Bob. Nice shot of Bob on Veterans Day. You were healthy enough to be out and about getting that stuff done. So that
was Saturday before last. I was up at last Saturday. I was up in New Milford. They had Jason Lewis Marine birthday. So salute. So
nice. It was a good shot we got there. So happy Veterans Day to all the veterans, and a big thank you to all they do for us. And nice to see you were out there giving your support, Bob. And I would imagine on your show you'll be maybe doing some stuff from that, and also diving into some of the Danbury Whalers season.
Soon we'll get to that. I since being back on sick call.
Missed out on the start of the season. But they're home this weekend.
Yeah,
so
they're
maybe
playing Danville this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So, I'm going to try to get there on Saturday because Friday's going to be an iffy day for me. I go back to the doctors again.
Whalers, of course, the defending champions, FHL champs. I'm sure the Commissioner's Cup has been on display down there at the Ice Arena for their loyal fans. 2,800 or so was opening night sellout. Huge crowd out there to welcome them back. They still have that goalie. Right, he still plays for them from last year.
Brown and Vitry are both there, and
so that's good news.
Yeah,
to have some of
the former Whaler Nick Nieder is now playing with Danville. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's going to be coming back to the house this week. So.
Nice, and our coach is still there, right?
Yeah. Phil's still there. Phil Esposito's still there.
Leading the way. So we'll see what happens with the Whalers and the season. It's a couple weeks old now, 2 or 3 weeks in.
I think they're 2-2.
2-2.
I think so.
So we'll start diving in more to that as the season gets going. Of course, Mike Toohey is in the studio as well. His show Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesday afternoons at 1 it re-airs, and we are live. As I mentioned, 203-792-4101 is the number if you want to call in and talk about anything, catch up on all the sporting news. Since we're talking Whalers, we're talking hockey. We have not given any attention to the NHL season, which is, I guess, about a month old at this point.
Yeah.
We were so tied up with the Red Sox run through the World Series there. Was not really paying much attention to the NHL, but I am ready to start taking a little bit more of a peek at the NHL.
Well, your Bruins, they're doing very well.
Bruins off to a good start. Of course, they had their deep run, losing out in brutal fashion last year in the Stanley Cup Finals. But they're off to a good start, of course. Not doing too bad. Second place right now, 23 points behind the surprising Tampa Bay.
Yeah, which is
the mighty Ning.
Yeah, I was
the
watching
Lightning.
them the other night. They were playing.
Yeah, and the Lightning did suffer a big loss injury-wise. A Veterans Day, actually, matinee game against the Bruins. They lost their leading scorer in the league, Steven Stamkos, to a brutal broken leg.
That was a bad.
He crashed into the net, broke his leg. That was horrible. But they lead the realigned NHL Eastern Conference Atlantic Division. There's now two divisions in the Eastern Conference with 16 teams.
Right.
Somehow the Western Conference only has 14 teams.
Yeah, which it doesn't make why
Bob,
that
we
happens.
just dealt with this in the MLB.
Right.
They finally evened out the divisions in the MLB. NL Central had 6 teams. AL West had 4.
Right.
All these years, they finally evened that out where everybody has 5 teams. It's all balanced. And the NHL goes and mixes this thing up. And now the Eastern Conference has 16 teams. Western has 14. It's a disadvantage. It's a simple mathematics dictates that is an unfair advantage.
But they can't. Nope. They just can't get that.
It's unbelievable.
For some reason.
And so now we have the Atlantic Division and the Metropolitan Division.
Right.
And they bring from the West the Detroit Red Wings. These are a long-standing Western Division rival teams. They're rivals with teams like the Blackhawks and all that. And they pull them out of there and they put them in the Bruins division.
Yeah, which makes no...
I'm like, what is this nonsense? I don't get it at all. I mean, Detroit's in with Toronto, Boston, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Ottawa, Florida, and Buffalo.
That doesn't make a...
Unreal.
Really
I don't know what the NHL's doing, but that is a horrible job by them. Not happy about it. But the news going on, these are the early stories. We got the coach swap between your Rangers, the Blue Shirts, and Vancouver.
Yep.
Rangers 9-game road trip to start the season didn't do them any favors.
We're 500,
But since that brutal start in the schedule-wise, they have actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
So they are moving up the standings, third place in the Metropolitan with 18 points. Getting better, although they lost to the Devils the other night. They hate it when that happens. And the Devils, with 17 points, are 5th place in that Metropolitan division. But so the coach swap, Tortellini head was too hot to handle in New York, so they send him out to a nice breezy Vancouver. How's that act going to play over there? I think they're doing pretty well, actually. Vancouver is. They got 24 points, so not bad start he's having out there, actually pretty good. Coaches fired. Of course, it's the NHL. That means coaches get fired early and often. Philadelphia, Florida, Buffalo, they're all gone. And then there's the coaching up situation.
Yeah.
How about this in Colorado, Bob? They plug in Patrick Waugh, the former netminder, my choice for best goaltender ever.
Right.
They put him behind the net, behind the bench there on the bench, and they team him up with Joe Sakic in the front office.
Which is a great,
Yeah, good job by them bringing these guys back. They're 14-3.
Yeah.
They finally lost a road game. They started off like 8-0 on the road or something. 28 points there in first place. Patrick Waugh, who knew he could be a coach who would just fire him up? Didn't he get in a fight in the first game?
Yeah.
First game of the season, he got in a fight, got ejected.
He got the book.
So he is just laying down the law, bringing the intensity to the Avs, and good to see the Avs back on top. Nice. And so Buffalo is looking to follow suit, Bob.
Yep.
They go in the Wayback Machine, not from a player standpoint, from a coach standpoint.
Yes.
Teddy Nolan.
Yeah, we're bringing names that were top
and they
players
team him up front office, Patty LaFontaine.
Yeah.
Nice. And the Sabres need it because they're 4-15-1. So they should have done it before the season started. Maybe they would have had success. But they see what's going on out in Colorado, and they said, let's bring back some of the old names, fire up the fan base at least, and maybe fire up the team. Teddy Nolan, I don't know what his deal is. He gets shipped out of these teams. I mean, he's a good coach. So we'll see what Buffalo does there.
On December 3rd at the Ice Arena, Brian Leach is going to be down for a camp, I think.
Nice. So Brian Leach, a legend in his own right.
Yeah, and especially in
down at the Danbury Ice Arena. Or we're going to have to keep track of that. We're going to make sure we have the correct date as we go forward and getting closer to that. Other stuff, we mentioned the surprising starts, the Lightning and the Avs.
Right.
The defending champs, the Blackhawks, they're at 28 points, so they're tied actually with Colorado.
Right.
So they're off to a good start as well. The locals, the Bruins, 23 points, second place in the Atlantic. Rangers, I mentioned, and Devils right behind them, 18 and
Islanders
17.
I watched.
What's going on with the Islanders?
I mean, they had a good game
They started real quick in the first week or so, and
then
they've
all of a sudden
slipped.
They just got hit a
Sixth
bump in
place,
the road
17 points. Not happy about that at all with that. So that is kind of the news of the NHL. That's what's going on. We'll start paying much closer attention now that we're back in action and things are up and running. We'll make this note. Maybe it was good that they had the lockout last year. It was easier to pick them up after the holiday break and do that fast and furious 40, 50 game schedule.
But now it's
back to 82 games. I missed the first 20.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, maybe they should consider, much like the NBA, shortening the season, because we remember 2 years ago it was the NBA on the lockout, and that was pretty good 50-game season
so
as
does
well.
that mean next year we're going to see baseball go for a lockout?
They should. They could shorten their season a little bit too.
They could go down to like 70 games or whatever. Of course, we're still hearing about the A-Rod.
Yeah, we're not going to get too much in MLB. There's free agent, rumors and stuff like that. There's the A-Royd, suing MLB, trying to get his suspension reduced or eliminated. He's going to get suspended.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a mockery.
Oh,
He's
the Yankees are looking for all new.
Did you hear? Actually, he was caught in a bathroom with some blonde bombshell. That was not his girlfriend this week.
Oh.
Down in Miami. So, he didn't quite, pull a wham situation, George Michael, with a guy, but who was caught with a girl at least. But, up to his old tricks. I don't know.
But I hear the Grandy man might be going to the Mets.
Maybe. The Mets are putting out feelers.
For some interesting, they might
There's
have
rumors. I don't know. I don't really want to get too much in the MLB because right now it's all rumor mongering and all that stuff. Let's wait till some guys actually get signed, some deals get done.
But the last I heard for the Mets, Ike Davis and Phil Duda are going bye-bye. So they're looking for
maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll go when some stuff starts flying around and actual deals get done. We'll start talking about it. But let's move to the NBA, Bob, because we also haven't talked about that. And this is the season of the tanking. Yes. Supposedly, Bob, all you hear leading into the NBA this season is tanking.
Yeah.
College basketball has got a ton of players that are going to be coming out. Some of them are freshmen right now. Wiggins, to name one, but. All these teams are supposed to be tanking, and they're all going to get in line for what will be, the deepest draft in quite some time next year. So here's the list of all the teams that were supposed to be tanking, Bob. Philadelphia 76ers, oh, by the way, 5-4 to start. Charlotte Bobcats, 4-4 to start. Boston Celtics, 4-5 now to start. Orlando, 4-5. These teams don't sound like they're tanking, Bob. Utah, they might be tanking, 0-8. Actually, they got their first win last night, 1-8.
The coach hasn't got fired yet?
Ty Corbin is hanging on by a thread. Sacramento Kings, they might be tanking at 1-5. They won last night, 2-5. Phoenix, they're supposed to be one of the top tankers. They're in first place at 5-2. A lot of people say the Fakers, L.A.
Hey, L.A. Fakers.
They were going to be tanking. They come out 4-5 as well. So those are the tanking teams who are all, for the most part,
what do we have there in the first place?
Doing pretty well. Your top tier teams, Pacers, front gunners right now at 8-0.
Wow.
So very nice start by the Indiana Pacers. Remember last year, it seemed like it was just yesterday, the playoffs were going on. They gave the Heat all they could handle. And apparently they are not suffering from a hangover from that. They are geared up and ready to go, firing on all cylinders.
How are the Bricks doing?
The Bricks, 3-4, and they needed a guarantee from their owner. Nolan had to guarantee a victory last night down in Atlanta. It's November, Bob.
Well, this isn't like it's
7
March.
games in. He's guaranteeing they would win last night, and they barely did down in Atlanta. So they're 3-4. Not really a good start. Tyson Chandler out for an extended 6 weeks or so. He broke his leg, Bob. So that's a big blow to the Knicks. They look shaky out of the gate. The other New York team, Brooklyn. Hello, Brooklyn, 2-5. Ooh. The big moves with the Truth and KG, the big ticket, and the Jet. Not so good so far. They need to gel. Early returns on KG, you hate to see it. Slow. I personally, my thing is Kevin Garnett is a big ticker guy, big heart. He's got a ton of pride. I don't know. I don't see him ever playing without pride.
Right.
He did not want to get traded from the Celtics.
No, I know that.
I just don't know if he's going to really ever be able to embrace this whole Brooklyn thing like he is putting on the strong face saying he will. He looks like he's a shell of the player that he once was. I mean, he's got so much wear and tear on him.
Right.
He was hurt at the end of last season.
Right.
Can he get it together? Can he get that heart and get that pride flowing for Brooklyn? They did beat Miami.
Yeah.
So that was their one big win, but they have not gelled. They're not looking well. Darren Williams was hurt in the preseason, so he's not looking good. Miami, by the way, 5-3. So they're not great out of the start. Chicago Bulls, the Bulls, with D. Rose back, they're shaky out of the gate, 3-3. The Spurs, not shaky.
No.
8-1.
Yeah.
They look like they're shaking off that brutal, bitter NBA Finals loss to the Heat, where the supposed best coach in the NBA, Greg Popovich, blew it. He blew it. That was my best Robert De Niro impersonation.
That's
you
great.
Blew it. He blew it, Bob. Best coach in the NBA. Yeah. He blew it, but they're 8-1.
Right.
Houston with the big move, getting Howard. They're 5-4. Linsanity makes its way back to the Garden tonight against the Bricks. Oklahoma City, they're 5-1 out of the gate. Jeremy Lamb, all you Husky fans out there, he's actually getting quality minutes so far this year. He was a part of that big trade where Harden went to Houston last year. He's actually getting some minutes, which is nice to see. Hashim Thapi is on that team as well, another Husky. The Warriors are a nouveau pick for everybody. Everybody's on them. I personally am off the Warriors. I didn't like them losing Jarek Jack. I didn't like them losing Carl Landry. But they are 5-3. They did bring in Iguodala, who should help. We'll see how that plays out. And the Clip joint, going out and bringing in Doc Rivers as he, officially ended the Celtics' reign by forcing his way out.
When I was rehabbing in the hospital, I got to watch a nice interview with Dr. J.
Oh, yeah, there have been some nice stuff with Dr. J recently.
He's got a new book coming out.
Right. So always nice to see Dr. J waxing poetic about the olden days. All right, some of the surprises. Atlanta, 4-4. Dallas, D. Mavs, and Dirk Nowitzki back in action, 5-3. Portland, the Blazers, 5-2, and the Mavs, maybe they're motivated by the sights of their cheerleaders.
Yeah, they have a
spectacular. Right there.
Yeah.
We see it. And Minnesota, Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio, healthy, 6-3 start. So nice to see Minnesota. Maybe this is the year they actually stay. And there's Jeremy Lamb right there playing against Minnesota for Oklahoma City. But maybe they stay healthy. Quick college basketball, because we got to get to NFL.
Right.
Huskies 2-0. Great game the other night. Looked good. Against Maryland.
Right.
They were up by 17, and there we see the Lady Huskies as well with a big win against Stanford. Up by 17, I was at a nice local fine dining establishment, eating a meal, put the fork down, paid the bill, up 17, walking to the car, telling my wife, this could be a special year for the Huskies. The fans are certainly going to embrace them. With Shabazz Napier coming back as a senior, he could have left. Boatwright could have left. These guys came back because they were banned last year.
Right.
Kevin Ollie led the way for a prideful season. Now they want to lead them back into postseason, so the fans are going to embrace them. By the time we got home, that lead was down to about 1, and they had to hold on for dear life. Shaky ending against the Terps, but they do get the victory, and they look – I like what I see.
Right.
We'll get more into them as this goes on. Of course, everybody is talking about the greatest doubleheader in the history of college basketball of all time for all eternity. Michigan State versus Kentucky,
right.
Kansas versus Duke the other night. It's a great doubleheader, but is it the greatest of all time? It's November.
Yeah. We're not talking about.
I mean, I'm sure there's been some pretty good Final Fours that were doubleheaders, Bob.
Yeah, we're not even talking March Madness yet, and they're already talking. And this is only
the greatest thing in all time.
Yeah.
Michigan State beats Kentucky. Number 2 beats number 1 in that matchup, 78-74. And Kansas, Wiggins versus Parker, Duke. Kansas beats them 94-83. Quick note on college football before we get into the league that pays to play. UConn still looking for their first victory, but this is big news, Bob. They go to the new quarterback, Cochran, out of Massac, who was actually a new Londoner, and that's a whole big story. Maybe we'll expose that.
How's your Colorado State doing?
They are positioning themselves for a bowl bid, as a matter of fact, at 5-4. Some big wins out of them. They are better than they have been in about 4 years. So excitement is out there in Fort Collins. CSU playing very well, scoring a lot of points. They have weapons on offense. I like this new CBS Sports Network because they've been covering the Mountain West, and I've been able to watch Colorado State, so that's been good. They're playing well. But Cochran, former Massac kid, Monroe, he led them to the state championship. He is getting the nod, starting quarterback this week for UConn, so that'll be exciting to see. The big picture, Florida State, if they run the table, they've got it now because Oregon's out of the mix as they got knocked out by Stanford, FSU, so they're number 2. But Baylor and Ohio State are waiting in the wings, the 2 teams looking to get back in. I still say keep your eye on Auburn. They will have a matchup, late season rivalry game against Alabama, and they have played well, and that is a rivalry game. Bama, of course, wiped out LSU the other night, but Auburn is the last team standing to knock Bama out, and that's always a big game. Speaking of Auburn, Bob, let's go NFL, and let's go Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton. What is going on? 5 straight wins for the Panthers. They went out to San Francisco and in a defensive battle knocked out the Niners in San Fran 10-9. And they get ready to take on the 7-2 New England Patriots.
Speaking of which, I haven't seen you since
I got to go. And I can tell you, Bob, the view from the top row is pretty spectacular. And we literally sat on the top row of Gillette Stadium where they put up 55 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers, most points in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The prideful Pittsburgh Steelers defense gave up 55 points. They never, ever had given up that many points, Bob. And I got to see it live and in person.
How was the weather?
Weather was good. It was cold, but it was reasonable. We dressed appropriately, but didn't have to go crazy with the layers. The wind was moderate, so that helped.
Did you guys have a tailgate during?
We tailgated it up. Maybe I'll bring in some pictures. I do got a few, and we'll check that out. But we did have a good time. It was a great day. And the Patriots' offense now, they were one step away from being fully loaded. They will be fully loaded on Monday night with Shane Vereen back. But Amendola was back. Gronk was back. Ridley's running well now. Vereen comes back. So they have all their offensive weapons ready to go, coming off the bye week, heading down to Carolina on a Monday night. So that's going to be exciting. I am a little disappointed, though. News came out today that the New York Jets, 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 were the team to scoop in and sign up Ed Reed.
And didn't.
They did.
Oh, he did.
The Jets did sign him today.
I thought he was optional. They weren't sure of it.
I heard at noon that they signed him. I didn't hear any news after that. Did it change?
No, I didn't hear anything else. But I mean, I heard it this morning, but they were still.
At noon, I heard they had signed him. I was hoping the Patriots would sign him. The Jets do get to shuffle on off to Buffalo, who looks like their season's falling apart at 3-7.
I don't know what's gonna happen with their.
Jets are 5-4. They're pretty much in control of the wild card situation right now with that big win against. They did sign him, right?
Yeah.
Ed Reed. With the big win against the Saints before their bye week, they moved to 5-4. They are in control right now, Bob, of the wild card.
Right.
And, so they are, looking pretty good. And Buffalo's got injuries, and they're heading up there, so they should get another win to move to 6-4,
right,
which would be very good for the Jets. Tonight's game, of course, Colts at Titans. Both teams coming off just brutal losses. Titans could have made this game a lot more interesting if they were 5-4. They would have been only one game out, but they lose to the previously winless Jacksonville Jaguars at home. They lost that game, Bob, and the Colts were just destroyed. Destroyed by the St. Louis Rams, yes. And Trent Richardson is not doing anything. I would know because I have him now on my bench on my fantasy team.
Speaking of which, how is your fantasy team
First
doing?
place, sole possession in the Money League, and I am back in the playoff picture in the Bragging Rights League after winning 3 straight to get myself back to 6-4, and I am 7-2 in the Money League. First place, a full game up on everybody, room to spare, wiggle room. The Bengals are now bungling, Bob, losing 2 in a row. They fall to 6-4. That division still is theirs because the Ravens and Browns 4-5. But Cleveland is at Cincinnati this weekend coming off the bye. The Browns are the team that's playing the best, ironically enough, in that division. Now, defending champs Ravens, not so much. They avoided the Hail Mary.
The Chiefs are still winless.
Undefeated. They had the bye week. They head to Denver this weekend for the Sunday night affair. 9-0 against 8-1.
So
big game.
Very big matchup.
Peyton Manning has shaky ankles, and he got hit late in that game as they were trying to hold off San Diego to make it worse. So he's missed practice this week, but they say he will play. Big game there. Kansas City's defense is really going to get put to the test. Are they legit? That's what everybody's going to say because they've been saying soft schedule. I'm sorry, this is the NFL. There's no such thing. I think they are legit. They're going to put the pressure on Manning with his gimpy legs. We'll see how that goes down. Your team there, the New York Football Giants,
well,
Bob.
The whole NFC East is a mess.
3 straight victories against backups, and they get another backup.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt 2 weeks ago, and the Giants get to face him. It's been, unbelievable. Freeman, the kid, backup for the 3rd stringer for Philadelphia they got.
Right.
Now they get Rodgers. They had Terrell Pryor, who was playing hurt for the Raiders. Unbelievable. 3 straight victories for the G-men to move to 3-6, which is a game and a half out. How is that possible? Dallas is just horrible at 5-5. Philly playing better
this week,
and they are home against the Skins. So we'll see what happens. Saints at 7-2, trying to hold it off the Panthers.
Right.
The Lions now in control. They're 6-3 ahead of the Bears and Packers.
9-1?
Seahawks are quiet at 9-1. They get Percy Harvin, and their offensive line is getting healthy, so they should get better. So we'll see what's going on. That's the show. That's it. We're hoping we get you caught up.
And we're back to square one again, and we'll see how things are next week.
We'll check it out now that we're all caught up. We'll see you then.
Go Whalers.